Hey there, Andrew here. You know, I'm always looking for new anime to watch, but I don't have any patience, so I'm going to give every new show of the spring 2017 lineup one episode to grab me. Welcome to Debut Review. Today's show is called Alice and Zoroku, or Zoroku. Alice and Zoroku. The poster is of an old dude with a bunch of flowers and some girl in a dress, pink frilly dress, sitting on the floor. So there is no show description here. So I'll make something up. Little girl in the pink dress gets adopted by some other dude and they work in a flower shop. I don't know. Let's see what this is all about. As it happens, episode 1 of Alice and Zoroku is 45 minutes long. That appears to be just episode 1, though. So, being an extra long episode, I may be wrong about this, but if I remember correctly, in the intro to this episode, I guessed, just looking at the poster, that this would be a show about a guy who takes in a girl in a pink frilly dress and she works in his flower shop. I think that's what I said. If that's what I guessed, well, I hit the nail on the head, because that is exactly what happens. At least in the broadest possible strokes. There's a lot more going on than just that. So it starts out with the gal in the pink frilly dress. Her name is not Alice. I think it's Sana or something like that. So she's in what looks like one of those kind of backless dressing gowns that you get in hospitals and stuff. And she's walking around in the rain, and there's dark, shadowy, mystery people after her. And it's pretty clear that this is like some secret government or maybe off-the-radar special organization that was holding her in a research facility, and she escaped, and maybe she has special powers because they keep, oh, she's gonna jump soon, which, when you hear it said like that, it usually means teleport. And I'm thinking, Elfin Lead? Is that where we're going with this? And so they track her to some highway road, and another woman approaches her, and they start using magical powers to battle each other and kind of swat each other with magical whoosawhatsits. I'm like, yeah, this is Elfin Lead, isn't it? Girls with superpowers. Well, the Elfin Lead characters didn't exactly have superpowers, but they did have telekinetic manifestations that they could summon to go smacking people around and tear them apart. This one, the powers are a little bit different. I'm not really clear on how the powers all work. Our main character, her powers seem to be whatever she can imagine she can manifest, but she's limited by how much energy she has, and using her powers uses up a lot of energy, which she's been using to teleport and escape. There's other characters that later in the show go after her. One can make anything with a chain, so like a wrecking ball that hangs on a chain. They don't usually hang on chains, but that's alright. Or a bicycle, because it has a chain. And there's another character who can just manifest arrows and shoot them. There's another one who, I don't know what the heck he does. But in this rain-soaked road in the middle of the night, she's approached by another woman whose power seems to summon the giant appendages of some extra-dimensional being, kind of like Bayonetta does with Madama Butterfly. You know, in her attacks where the giant arms and legs will come out of portals and punch the bad guys in the nose, or stomp them with a kick. Kind of the same thing. There's these giant arms that just come out and start punching at people. And then another woman who, shows up to Sala, whatever her name is, her defense is, run, go to the city, I'll catch up with you some other time. And the bad guys lose track of her, and she ends up in a city and meets Zoroku Kun. I almost called him Kun. It's San. Zoroku, old dude. And meets him and is like, hey, help me. And he's like, nah. But he's a good guy. He's like, can I walk you home or to the police or something? But she teleports away. And so he gets in his car. And this is actually the neatest part of the show. The parking lot, the paid parking lot that he's in, seems to have some sort of tire catch. So you park over this mechanism that pulls up a plate in the road, which will kind of hold your car in place. So you go and you pay for your time in the lot, and the plate lowers down and you can drive away. Anyway, Sana, or whatever her name is, appears in his car and is like, hey, help me. And suddenly 2 other power girls are after, a wrecking ball comes at the car, and so there's a big chase throughout the city streets as the bad guy girls are throwing crap at them, and they're weaving through traffic, trying a big action scene. It's a lot of fun. And there's one part where he slams on the brakes and he's like, get out. I don't need this crap in my life. And the weird thing is the animators forgot to make the backgrounds stop scrolling across. So even though they're stopped, the background is still moving. Oops. Anyway, the car chase ends, and basically old man Zoroku smacks all the 3 girls in the head and is like, look at what you've done, look at all the mischief you've caused. And he's he's scolding. And they're like, we're sorry. Because all of these powered individuals are young girls, like, I don't know, 12 or something like that. And so he's scolding them to respect their elders and not endanger people, and they're like, we're really sorry. And it makes sense because these girls apparently were kidnapped or raised in some underground research facility, and they're experimented upon, and they don't know any better, and no one's probably tried to teach them any morals or anything like that. So they all end up at the police box, and the police are like, what is going on? And no one believes anything. But then the call comes from higher up to sweep this under the rug, and they're like, you can all go. Of course, the girls all teleport out of there, but they're like, forget whatever happened. And so Zoroku's by himself again, and he sells the car because it creeps him out. The car was totaled, but by the time he gets out of the police, it's been magically fixed somehow. So he sells it. And he's wandering around, and Sana, or whatever her name is, catches up with him, and they talk a little bit, and he decides to, give her a place to stay for a bit, and goes back to his play, as long as he works in his flower shop, because no freeloaders, you see. So anyway, the rest of it is just taking her to the shop, so we see he's a florist, and then back to his place, and lets her stay in one of the guest rooms. So, will I watch episode 2? Yes, absolutely. I really enjoyed episode 1. As you notice with my constant comparisons to things like Elfen Lied, it's similar to things I have seen in the past, but what sets this one apart, which is when you have been watching anime for 2 decades and have seen a lot of it, you really need something new, something special to really pull you into a show. Because otherwise, when you've seen as much as I have, it's like, yeah, it's good, but I've seen a dozen things like it before. So, what really works for me about this show so far is really Zoroku and his interactions with the girls and really all the people around him. He is just such an interesting, fun character. He absolutely will take no crap from anybody, and even when faced with pretty much the supernatural You will still respect your elders. I don't care if you can manifest objects out of thin air. I don't care if you can teleport. You take your shoes off when you enter someone's home. You don't stand on a chair. You keep your voice down in a restaurant, or I will punch you in the head. In that downward closed fist knuckle to the top of the head thing that older characters in anime do to small children, which seems like child abuse, but it's always done in an exaggerated style, when to the point where it comes off more of like a noogie than it does literally punching a child in the head. So, and plus, you know, it's fake, it's fantasy. Sometimes it's rather cathartic or therapeutic to see a child be punched in the face, because you never see that. Yeah, Alice and Zoroku. Why Alice, by the way? The children are called, well, the translation is Dreams of Alice. So, I guess, what is Dream? Yume or something? Alice no Yume something? Which is kind of a weird name. I mean, it sounds like that would be the program's name, not the names of the girls. But I think Sana has, like, created a Wonderland, Alice in Wonderland, kind of fantasy realm for them to exist in, and the bad guys are studying that, probably to weaponize them. That's usually what it is. But, yeah, Alice and Zoroku, I really enjoyed it. It was the characters and interactions that really sold me on it. The action is fun. The powers so far are pretty creative and visually interesting. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing episode 2. And that's it for this video. Catch you in the next one.